JoyNews investigations have uncovered how children trafficked for a sum of 1,000 cedis to work on cocoa farms at Elukum in the Western North region. One of the victims, Rashida, said her master started using her when she was 11 years. She told investigative journalist Kwete Nate that she wants to return to the classroom. Here are excerpts of our latest hotline documentary, Children in Cocoa Labor.
Rashida was trafficked from Chereponi by Musa. She was in class 6, a basic school in Chereponi. Working long hours is not new to Rashida. She says she has served 4 years already under her old master. She was just 11. She is now serving for 1,000 Ghana cedis, which will be paid to her parents. There is no intention of her master sending her to school. Another girl the investigative team came across is Memuna. She's serving 4 years for an amount of 1,200 Ghana cedis. She was also brought from Chereponi by the same Musa. When she isn't hawking on the streets of Elukum, she assists with weeding on the cocoa farms.
You heard excerpts of our latest hotline documentary, Children in Cocoa Labor. It will air on Monday, January 10 at 8:30 a.m. on the Super Morning Show and 8:30 p.m. on the JoyNews channel. Let's speak. So Deputy CEO of Cocoa, Dr. Emmanuel Opoku, he joins us via Zoom. I'm grateful for your time. Also on Zoom will be a representative from Send Ghana. First of all, has this come to your attention? All right, I'm told that the line has dropped. We'll try and get them back to speak on this matter. It's the fourth wave of the COVID-19 pandemic in Ghana, with the virus spreading many times faster than it was when a lockdown was imposed. This is the time when hundreds of people have gathered in offices of telecommunication companies seeking to get their SIM cards re-registered. Government requires all mobile phone users to register their SIM cards with their biometric data by March or have them disconnected from telecommunication services. But this process has been slow, leading to long queues. Many already frustrated. Manuel Cranting has been to the ground. Here's his report.
The past 3 days, since the working days in the year 2022 started, what we've seen at a lot of the outlets of the various telcos are long queues, as you can see in your shop, people attempting, to finish that exercise of merging their SIM card details with their national identification details. The problem, however, has been that the process has been, quite infamously slow, with a lot of them, having to spend days. There are people that I've spoken to here who have been here since Tuesday and are never able to complete this entire registration process. Well, the very first step is a self-help step with a short code where people could use their phones and then link their data to the National Identification Authority's data. The next step is to be at the the outlet of the telcos for their biometric details and so on and so forth to be captured. Some of them have been in the queues for far too long, and it's becoming really frustrating for them. Let me speak to just a few of them and find out. Madam, what's your name? You're live on the JoyNews channel. How long have you been here anyways?
Okay, I've been here yesterday. I came here yesterday around 6. I couldn't do it because after being through the line, they told me that I have to do some linking, and because I've done the linking yesterday, I cannot do it yesterday now, so I have to come next day. Yeah, it's today that I came back. They said there's no network, so we are still there.
What time did you get here today?
I get here around 7.
Around 7 a.m. and it's past 10 a.m. That's in excess of 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me what's going to happen. Yesterday you couldn't do it. Today, 3 hours gone, you've not been able to do. What's going to happen if you're unable to do this?
Oh, I'll feel bad because yesterday I didn't go work. Today I didn't go work. If I'm not able to do it today, that means tomorrow I have to come back again. You see, that means I've wasted all my 3 days doing nothing.
And tomorrow is a holiday.
Oh, okay. But even at that, me, I'll still go to work.
Okay.
Yeah.
What work do you do?
Me, I sell meat fry. Okay. I'm doing pastries.
Okay.
But I sell meat fry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So wish you all the best, and we hope that you're able to eventually do the registration. Let me speak to this lady who's been quite agitated this entire morning. I've seen her walk up and down complaining. Madam, just speak to me briefly. I mean, I see you walk up and down with a lot of frustration. Tell me, what's your story?
It's very stressful being here. I've been here for more than 3 hours and we are not seeing anything. We are just standing here. We are quite tired too because there are no chairs for you to sit. Here comes the case. Tomorrow too is on a holiday. You can't come here unless Monday. Actually, I'll be going to school on Saturday. So if I don't do it today, I don't know when I can do it again.
I see. And I mean, the process has been running for quite a while now. It's not just starting this week. What's been your story? Why did you not do it all this while?
I traveled. Where I went, how they did it was that there was some people who comes to do it for you at home. I think if they do it that way, it will be a little better than all of us coming to join here. They can even send some of the agents to go to houses to do it for them. I think that one will be best.
I see.
Yes.
I see. Now talk to me. What do they tell you? You said you've been there 3 hours. What do they tell you?
They've not told us anything. They just told us that the network is not working.
Okay. The network.
Yes.
Okay. That's the platform they're using to do the registration.
Yes, right. As this time, that's what they are saying, that the network is not working.
Okay. So, Maps, these are some of the stories that we're seeing, in fact, hearing this morning. But it goes beyond people being just frustrated to, physical tiredness. And we'll just turn around the camera for you to see people who really are, you describe as old people, really, wobbling legs and feet and all of that. They're now having to sit on the bare floor just as they wait for their turn to be able to go in there and register. Mommy, I'm a patron of saying.
Emilia.
Aunt Emilia, I'm not what a family year sim registration.
The bill. Phone registration.
Oh, the Ghana card no ebe year registration. Okay, now time ben I'll be do.
Ebe do about 6 o'clock na yewa.
Okay.
After now, you see. Network in India, how Chese.
The whole day, say the whole day no corner say went to me and register by then.
Nah, so my coffee, say Minyata beer, meba.
Okay. Now what is saying?
66.
66. Okay, so Maps, this lady, she says her name is Emilia. She's 66 years old, and she's come here to get her SIM card re-registered. She's been here since 6 a.m. as she just told me in Chi, but it's been giving the feedback that the network is down. And so, having stood for more than 3 hours, her legs have given, and so she is now sitting on the floor waiting for her turn, and if at all the system will begin functioning again. Otherwise, she would have to go back home and then attempt to come back. You say, "Oh, your best baby."
Ene. Ochina say holiday nti by Monday so mo be eduma. Mesan baby.
Okay. And so she says that she may attempt to come back again tomorrow or Monday when they open the portal. Some people have really come from far places. Mommy, now catch me say ofi pokwase na baha. Na ade na ofi pokwase ton na wabahan mo say.
Atam baby amaya nintam. Na dimba be di ha no.
Okay. Into ubedu hanu mo no ekosen.
Na de bedu ha no de enkokola. Enko. Music system ni nyanti na enko baby a. Ene e ba no pa da so gina ha be pem same.
Let's say we jafie we ja adwuma ne bibia.
Meja adwuma ne bibia wa ba be gina ha no.
Adwuma be na we.
Ben waduane me ton mo.
Okay. Let's say na de won ton mo no no.
Da bi na me nya adwuma ne.
Na say wentumi anye ne na let's say Monday we san ba bi mo.
Monday de meet me ma. Me ya adwuma.
Be ya adwuma no. Na almost 1 year registration I will sim no e be block you no.
Da me say nya ho bi me ma ba ba. It's a Monday de. Blo nya itimi break it ni na me de ye me lunch. Na me de ye nti me nya kwa na ma anya de a. Monday me ya adwuma. Me ma.
Nti ka omunya kwan bi so anka e bia wo fie na wa ye ade na anka umba all the way to the office anka be.
Ye nya ne sa so akepe. Ye ni fie ni ye mpie ni ye be ama ye fie so a. Ke pe ni aye no ho no ma na ne. Baby a be mi bia so na makoye bi. Me mfro ka na metimbe.
I'm just hearing this man saying that he stopped the SIM card registration. This woman is saying that she's coming all the way from Pokwase, by the way, and she has to, stop working. She sells food, but today she's not doing that. But we'll go back to selling food on Monday because this entire Christmas she's not been selling. Boss, you're saying that you're going to stop registering your card all the time?
Chairman, definitely. If today you're able to do it, maybe definitely we will stop. You won't do it. We'll go to space and then do our normal calls as during that time we do it. Because if we see how the service is not working, we are supposed to go to work today, but because of the same registration, we are here, we've left everything in the house. You see, it's going against us. So the MTN operators need to work on that so that we can able to register our SIM again with our Ghana card. That's what I can say for now.
And so generally, and MAPS is the same sentiment all across this entire queue here at the Ring Road branch of the MTN. And indeed, for a lot of them, it's gotten really frustrating. And we'll be trying to, get some responses. We're told that the platform that is being used for the registration is actually an NCA, controlled platform, which we're told by the, customer service officers here at MTN that the system is down. We don't know when the system will come back up. But for now, everybody is staying put. Those who have strong legs are still standing. Those who don't are sitting, waiting for the system to come back up and running.
Well, let's get an understanding of why this system is so slow and creating this situation. Joining me for this conversation is Desmond Israel, who is a lawyer and data security analyst. He joins us via phone. Desmond, I'm grateful for your time. And Derek Lai is also an expert in telecommunications and has worked with the telecoms chamber. I'm grateful for your time, Derek and Desmond.
Thank you.
All
Thank you for having me.
Right. So, Derek, let's start with you. Let's understand what has happened. What's your reading of what has happened with the SIM registration and with the deadline that has been given for March 2022, and there's total chaos everywhere? Hello, Derek. Hello, Derek. Hello, is Desmond. Hello, Desmond.
Okay, yes, I'm here.
Right. I'm asking what your reading of what has happened is with this SIM registration, with a deadline of March 2022.
Okay. So initially, I thought the question was directed at Derek. My apologies. So for starters, I think that we are not only dealing with the issue which I had earlier on indicated should be a problem with data silos, which I'll go into that as we go on. But I also think we are dealing with system inefficiency. And for those of us in system design at this enterprise magnitude, there are actually 4 things that were supposed to have been taken care of. Compliance, security, availability, and performance. So where we are likely dealing with a system that is overwhelmed by the numbers, a system that has not integrated its modules properly. So most likely when you start make some entry, it crashes because it's not able to process some of those things appropriately. And that all comes into maybe user acceptance testing, which means that someone should have done some rigorous testing on the application before it goes live. These are not conjectures. These are actually things that happens on the field, which is required to have been done. So if we already have an application that is not loading, the user says it crashes, it can't come up. At a point, they've not got connection, it's off link. All these things will go down to a proper system design and also looking at the 4 risks that I have identified, which comes with every technology implementation, i.e., you look at the security of it, you look at the compliance posture of it, you look at the performance of that system, and you also look at the availability of it. And clearly, we are having issues with availability and performance because since the registration started, that's the challenge that we're having. And if you were to do an analysis about everything else from the user experience all the way to even the hosting of the application, you likely will know that the bottlenecks are on the application side. From the interviews that were also done by your reporter, it's also clear that you have the agents and the some of the telco representatives also pointing out that this application does not belong to them, belongs to the NCA. And therefore, the other question is, what do we seek to achieve with having a separate application called the SRA, which is SIM registration application, collecting the same information that the NIA platform that has already collected, which is another point I made in the morning, that actually sends us back, which is the issue of data silos and data bureaucracies and institutions trying to hold on to data. They may or may not be the case, but this is what we can glean from everything else that is happening with these whole validation of biometric information and all that. Now, having said that, I would have thought that instead of trying to do the biometric identification all over again, where we go in there and we have to, give out the biometric information again, this biometric information is stored on our cards. It's actually with the with the NIA at first glance. Now, if the NIA system has been, clearly properly developed, then I would have anticipated that we would have maybe what we call application program interface components to hit the database without necessarily migrating the database to the NCA, and then we use a biometric authentication process rather than the identification process, because clearly under the authentication process, what we seek to achieve is that the data that is already there would be run against a reference module. So it's much faster and easier. It would have probably dealt with these application bottlenecks, trying to bring the application up all over again and all that. And also would have dealt with the data silo issue where we have multiple data sitting everywhere. I mean, every institution that is doing biometric registration is sort of like doing these on their own. I don't know at which point we want to do the integration, but if we were to do our homework well, we clearly should have designed a system to deal with these issues that we are having now. And that's the problem that I have with it as a professional. I'm failing to accept the explanation that, we'll fix it as we go. Does it look like something that we anticipated? we are at the end where is a near failure, you understand, in terms of timelines and in terms of efficiency of the system, which has been designed to do this job. And like I said earlier, let's look at the situation elsewhere as well. The HADA, which has been done in India, Estonia, all these people have done these projects, and they have the reference case. And why we will not choose the best case model, it beats my imagination. But clearly, I don't think that we are only dealing with a one-sided issue of data silos. We are also dealing with an issue of application inefficiency, and it's clearly showing from the use of it.
Desmond, I'm curious to know how much of importance it is for us to link our SIM to the Ghana card.
Extremely important. I take it from the angle where we are trying to digitize the economy and leverage on information, the information era, trying to make sure everything sits on a digital platform. If you have the mobile ID, or what they also call the EID, you can check reference with the ITU. I think they have a module on it. Not too sure about the publication date, but they have a module on the key challenges and the use cases that comes with some of these platforms. And I can tell you that, yes, we need it. The argument is not whether we should do it or not. We have to. The argument is, how are we doing it? How are we approaching these things? Are we doing it, within the appropriate means? Are we taking all the key issues into consideration? Because look, the next time we are going to queue again to deal with this when it comes to another integration with another system, because the fundamental issue of how do we integrate with all other databases is either not discussed and someone is not implementing it, or clearly is missing in the whole conversation as to where we are going. So we need to link our Ghana card to our mobile numbers. It creates a unique ID. Yes, I know my security guys will start talking about the risk of unique IDs, but it is relevant. It will help with our payment. It will help with our information economy. It would give us one single point of authentication. At some point, you might not even need to use your Ghana card to authenticate. You might have to use a national mobile app, which is synced to your EID, and you can authenticate. So it is a relevant exercise. The problem is how we are approaching it.
Now, and I'm happy you talked about the NI cards and all the issues that we're having, because the bigger challenge has been that many people do not have their Ghana cards ready. The telcos themselves seem overwhelmed with the number of people they've had to deal with. Is it feasible to meet the March 2022 deadline?
At the rate at which we are going, I do not see how we are going to meet that deadline. And I don't have the records of it as to how many SIM registrations we would have to have done. I wish my colleague Derek was on the call, maybe he would have given us the specific numbers. But guesstimates, if we are doing at this rate, I'm not sure how much the telcos have been able to cover. And March is probably just 2 months away, tentatively about 60 or maybe 70 days away. If we continue like this, we are not going to meet that deadline. I think the most realistic thing to do for starters, extend the deadline for starters. Then move on to the next stage where each telco should go into discussions with the NCA about queue management so that we can go by appointment, because clearly the system is overwhelmed. I don't know why we don't want to get to the point where we would say that we are overwhelmed. We need to take a step back and reprogram how we are going forward. Cut down the numbers, that goes to various centers, depending on the capacity we can take. Use appointment stickers or appointment notes or appointment via SMS. Because you have the base record which you need already. And then, of course, get everybody to go at a particular point in time and then space the deadline out a bit, probably some 2 or 3 months more, halfway down the year. That is on condition that we are fixing the bottlenecks, so that we'll be able to get there. If we stick to the deadline we have now, we've created 2 problems already. There's a rush hour for the registration. And then we have a system inefficiency, which is not able to absorb the rush hour. So that is where you are going to have the clear technical challenges, which I keep saying will not be washed away with any amount of talking.
So ideally, what should be the situation or the direction with regards to dealing with SIM cards and protecting our data at the same time? Okay, so a number of things will come into play.
For starters, I still fail to see why we are going to have a separate application collecting our biometric data. That information is so sensitive, even under the Data Protection Act, it needs some sort of specialized attention. Well, I understand that data protection is a stakeholder in this project, so I would think they know best. But clearly, if you're collecting biometric data as a country, why are we collecting it in multiple places? For me as a security person, that's what I'll tell you is a multiple attack surface. There are biometric data scattered all over the place. If I don't get it from A, I may get it from B, depending on what security posture they have there. Secondly, we need to have a national security architecture, probably led by industry plus the Cybersecurity Authority or any of those agencies in conjunction with the NIA, develop the security architecture that is going to guide how we store this data. And it's going to include from the collection, from collection, transit to storage. And different levels of security controls are going to come into play. Encryption, principle of least privilege, who accesses the data, at what time, what privileges do they have when they access the data, and then various policies that would govern it. So indeed, it's a long haul. I don't think it is late. Like I said in the morning, it might be a little too late right now, because I would have thought that the system would have been designed to take care of these shocks, including integrating it to the NIA to avoid us from collecting the information all over again, which is what we are doing. And it's just not right. We're creating this problem for ourselves.
For me, Desmond Israel, whilst I pick some comments on Facebook, because look, a lot of people are overwhelmed. They are worried that they've joined queues, long queues all day, all week, getting their SIM cards to be registered to no avail. And a lot of comments are on Facebook right now. I'll read a few of them for you. And that's what we put there on our Facebook page. We'll get the messages shortly, and I'll share them with you. But also, we are asking you to join via the meeting ID provided on the screen and the passcode on your screen, so that you can share your experience with us. Francis Kwao says, I used less than 15 minutes to register mine at my hometown during Christmas season. I'm now going back to Kumasi, which I tried to register there, but to no avail. So in the village, it was better, but in the cap, well, maybe the pressure is in the capital. Always, that's from Kobe Eben. He says, I'm always of the view that Ghana should be given back to our colonial masters. The black man has shown it multiple times that he cannot manage even a poultry farm. So because the telcos know that phones have been part of us and that we can't embark on, okay, so there's more of that, but he's basically talking about how the system is not functioning well. Desmond, let me bring this back to you, Desmond. The first person who sent that comment says that in the village he did it better, but when he came to Kumasi, it was difficult for him to get it done. What could be the challenge?
Okay, so when you have application with multiple access, you likely can have this issue. At the enterprise level, when you develop application, you anticipate that they are going to have the same experience. But it is hampered by stress in terms of, when we say stress, we mean the usage, the number of people accessing that particular module of the application at a particular point in time. So that could impact the way the application performs. We could also have the issue of network. Network sometimes also called latency, which actually means the load that is on that particular route to the application. So we could likely have the situation that he's describing. Less number of people at the environment would also means less human stress to the people that are actually in charge at that particular location. So if you take me through the entire value chain, I can tell you that there are bottlenecks along the line, depending on how the application is actually developed. But for you to have the application failing to work appropriately as required, and I'm sure it's probably part of the system design that this application would work with maybe 99.9 efficiency, and we are having way less than that at this point in time. Clearly, we are dealing with a situation where the application itself must be looked at, because we could have the performance issue almost driving down to what we call application logic, as in how the application thinks, how the application behaves, and that could also hamper how the application works. At this stage, we are not likely to think about any external third party maybe tampering with the process or tampering with the performance of the application, unless, of course, the owners of the application come out to make such a disclosure. But at this point, I think the real issue has to do with how the application itself is designed to do its work.
Desmond, stay on for me, and I'm hearing that some people are joining via Zoom. Kindly mute your audio and then turn your video landscape. When I mention your name, then you can put on your audio, but you can put on your video as well, so you can join this conversation. Let me bring in Felix, who has joined. You can now turn on your audio, and I'm sure your video is on, then we can have a conversation. Felix. Hello, Felix. All right, so Dekura is also on with us. Dekura. Hello, Dekura. Hello, Dekura. Okay, hello, Desmond. Hello, Desmond.
Hello?
Yes. So,
Elisha.
yes, so we are already at this crossroad. What's the way forward from here? Because we've agreed, yes, Desmond, we've all agreed that it's important to link our information to the Ghana card for security reasons. But, I mean, you say you are not happy with the way it's being managed. What's the way forward from here?
Okay, so we've already started this process, and it's very difficult for you to request a scrap of a process that I've started unless we are really at a point where there's no turning back, but then we need to clear this. But I think that I've made one point earlier. You see, we are now there. We are trying to pick up this information again. Why we are doing it again, as in getting another silo of the same data that we should have leveraged from the NIA, I'm not too sure. But if we are in the position to actually allow the biometric authentication, which, like I said, is basically confirming the data that is sitting at the NIA already, yes, I think we should explore that part. And in doing so, we might also bring in what we call the liveliness test. Depending on what sort of authentication we want to do, we can do some sort of liveliness test. So people can maybe upload some sort of information about themselves through a selfie, maybe through the application at their own convenience, which would also maybe cut down the load that goes in there. But like I said, this is all dependent on whether the initial design can facilitate some of the things that I'm proposing. On the other side, like I also indicated that there should be a conversation around queue management and then setting appointments and extending the timeline, which would definitely reduce the stress that goes on now. It would give engineers time to also figure out what their problems are, what the bugs are, so they can fix them, whilst you still have some people doing the registration. Unfortunately, you'll be using them as guinea pigs, but it's better to be doing a UAT whilst you are going than being live now and having all these issues that we are having, which is not even giving us 50% of the progress that I anticipate we will be getting with this registration. So apart from looking at the system design, I think we also should go back to the queue management and setting this into some sort of appointment and extend the deadline.
As we all agree that the deadline is not feasible, I mean, how much time do we need to get this fixed, roughly?
Okay, so again, this conversation, especially if you want to anticipate timelines, and again, with an experienced project consultant, you can never give timelines when the problem solvers are not part of the conversation, because they can anticipate, especially with the engineers and the system analysts there, they can anticipate and tell you that, listen, we can get this fixed in a week. If we can get it fixed in a week, because we've had an issue with it before, if I were a project manager, I would have said that, okay, let's go for an additional quarter, because I would prefer to finish earlier than hit a deadline which I'm not able to meet. So if it's feasible to fix the issue we are having now within a week or two, I would say that let's take 3 more months ahead. So we can actually put the deadline in the middle of the year, hoping that we will do queue management, we will do system fixes, do some few twitches here and there, and then accommodate the stress whilst we go on.
I'm grateful for your time, Desmond Israel. He's a cybersecurity consultant, and he's been sharing with us why the deadline is not feasible and how better we can manage the situation. But he agrees it's important that we link the Ghana card to our SIM cards for security reasons. We can now go back to our earlier story where JoyNews investigations have uncovered how children trafficked for a sum of 1,000 cedis to work on cocoa farms at Elukrum in the Western North region. One of the victims, Rashida, said her master started using her when she was 11 years. She told investigative journalist Kwete Nati that she wants to return to the classroom. Here are excerpts of our hotline documentary. All right, we've seen excerpts of that. We can speak with Deputy CEO of Cocoa Board, Dr. Emmanuel Opoku, who has joined us on phone. I'm grateful for your time, sir. First of all, has this come to your attention?
Well, thank you very much. I don't know say much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to respond to that. I'm very sad all about the debt management and retirement of Cocoa. We are very, very sad that the story is in our midst that we need to go. I'm very sad because over the years, the government of Ghana invested so much, led by Cocoa. But I tell you the amount of money invested to educate farmers, to run, workshops for farmers. And so you can see that farmers really know that the use of children for this particular activity is not permissible in Cocoa. And so, and that is why I said I'm very sad, because, I would rather want a situation where the people had not been exposed to this kind of activity against children for you to be talking about. But situations where farmers are very, very educated, then I can say that it is a deliberate thing by certain farmers who are doing that. And I want to appeal to Joy. We do not want such issues to be shelved. When it happens like that, we want the news media to cooperate with us and report such matters to the police so that you draw our attention to it. Because look, I am the one in charge of this project. I mean, the child labor thing, and it's all straight to my head. But when somebody said that I should listen, at that time where I was, it wasn't possible I could. So please, we are appealing to you. I mean, if we need to collaborate and work on these projects, we will do that, because look, since 2001, we've done a lot. Sometimes the government, the U.S. government, comes to threaten some of our neighbors and ask that, look, if we are not doing enough against this, but we are doing it now because we are doing a lot of education. The only thing we don't know is that we don't have the power of arrest. And sometimes some of these things you wouldn't know until the news media pounds on them. So we are open to work with Joy FM, because we detest this kind of practice by a few farmers who want to use children to achieve any economic gain. Because look, we don't allow that. It is by the laws of Ghana, it's illegal, it is criminal to do that. We wrote the law, and we must allow the laws to work. So we are happy that this kind of thing is coming to us, but we are also saddened that some farmers are using children, and we will go and spend more money, go and defend this matter, and tell the whole world, tell the EU, tell the US government what we are doing, and they know what we are doing. And so, if we still find a few farmers in the bush decline to buy their cocoa. Maybe this is what we need to, but it won't be enough because we will still not know all the farmers who will be doing that, or some of the farmers who will be doing that. So when this kind of thing comes out, I will appeal to Joy FM. First of all, please, we will not shelve any farmer doing that because it's criminal. So first of all, let the police take action, and then we will come in to support you, so that the farmers will know. We will parade them on radio and TV and all that for the rest of the farmers who want to see that we have done enough. And if you are a farmer and you decide not to listen, not to use it, not to apply it, then the law must catch you. When the law catches up with you, you must be dealt with accordingly. So while I would want to thank you, I still also want to us to take the right action that will help make our collaborators or the people who are working with the government of the US, the EU, to know that it has come to our notice and we are taking the right measures, because that is what they expect us to do. That when you find any farmer doing it, arrest them, prosecute them. Otherwise, we will stop buying your cocoa. And because of a few farmers, the whole Ghana cocoa is declined, then we are not doing any service to ourselves. That is why I am happy that this has come to your attention. Let's look at how best we can collaborate to arrest the farmer or the farmers who were part of this, and then so we can then take the children out. And there are institutions that are, supporting, this kind of the children who are taken from or who will be taken from slavery or let's say child labor, so that we can all be proud of ourselves. That means we are working together as Ghanaians and as Ghanaian institutions to stop child labor or worst forms of child labor. I'm very, very, very sorry. Very, very, very. I feel so hurt and bad. When you first called me, I was at a clinic. I am too fine. Because of this particular matter, I'm so much interested, and I want to work with Joy FM so that we can all work together to arrest the people involved and then bring them to book.
Dr. Poku, and I agree that the police must come into this. But again, this is not the first time we are hearing this. How does your outfit intend to help the police to check some of these things going forward?
Well, we can all work together. See, we've been working together on this. Sometimes when it comes to that, the police, they have a unit that, deals with child labor, and they work. Sometimes some of these matters, when it comes to them, they go in to arrest. Okay? But just as I said, there are people, Ghanaians, particularly cocoa farmers, who think that they are the law. Okay? Who think that they can do what they like because, after all, it's their children and they can decide. But when even for such parents, we support them. There are institutions that support them. So I still don't get why some farmers will go ahead and give their children up. And even some farmers will also accept their children and use them on cocoa farms. That is very alien to Ghana, and we do not want to encourage it. Whatever we can do to stop these farmers from continuing with this kind of activity or illegal activity, we need to work and bring those farmers together. If it is possible for us to set up certain units, even in the community, children, that is the police, the law enforcers, to come up with some of these things, we need to do that, because Cocoa Board, we are not in every community. The communities that we are, our officers, they call farmers into forums, and then we educate them. That is what we can do. We don't have any power, right? But the only thing we can do is to educate the farmers and keep educating the farmers. Look, there are a lot of radio programs where we talk about child labor. Don't use your children to do cocoa farming or bring any child to do it. But you can see that those things fall on deaf ears. So it is the law enforcers who we need to rely on to help us to stop this nefarious practices. Because look, it is not good for Ghana. It is not good for the image of Ghana. It is not good for the image of cocoa farmers. And I think that the farmers who decide that they will disregard the law and do what they want, they must be brought to book.
I'm Dr. Emmanuel Opoko, is Deputy CEO of CocoBot. Now, news just in: accident involving 23 students at a CB along the Dodowa Shai Hill stretch. The 23 senior high school students were on their way. Well, let's get details from the ambulance driver. He has joined us via phone. What has happened? What really happened before this accident? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, Isa, you are on JoyNews and we are asking what led to the accident.
Right. Thank you very much. We were called this afternoon by an unknown number that there was an accident along the Dodowa Ayikuma Asebi road leading to the Shai Hill. So we quickly got there. And the information we got on the ground was the driver was loaded with students who were going to a new secondary school and had a tight vest. The driver tried his best to save the situation, but then could not stop because of the excessive speeding that we're told. The car somersaulted and mangled. All the 23 passengers aboard are severely injured. As we speak, they are all at Dodowa District Hospital. That is where we conveyed there to, with the help of the Dodowa District Police Command and then the Dodowa District Fire Service with the team from the National Ambulance Service Dodowa office.
And these 23 students, did they sustain injuries?
Yes, they all sustained injuries. Though some are minor, only a few of them had minor injuries. But to be honest to you, most of them sustained serious injuries, ranging from fractures, head injuries, and the like. It's really a fatal accident.
And which hospitals are they right now?
Currently, we've conveyed them to the Dodowa District Hospital.
And how are they faring?
Well, the hospital staff have called for reinforcement because actually the casualties there are almost overwhelming their staff. So they call for reinforcement and they are working on them. Well, let's see how it goes. For now, I cannot tell how they are faring. I cannot tell actually because it's still early to tell.
Thank you so much for the information. Isaac Pambe is Principal Emergency Medical Technician with the Ambulance Service. Now, some customers in the process of completing their vehicle registration have applauded the Driving Vehicle Licensing Authority for making the process less complicated. The DVLA in 2021 announced that customers will now have the option of starting their vehicle registration online and remotely. In previous years, owners had to present their vehicles at any DVLA office and join long queues for completion of paperwork. Some new vehicle owners who have been to register their vehicles without any problem said the process is less stressful. In the Ashanti region, the situation is not too different. Joining us for more is Nanaya Ojima, who's been following this for us. Nanaya Ojima, how has the situation been from where you visited in Kumasi?
Head office in the Ashanti region, it's been calm and cool for all those who today went into the office to register their vehicles. According to the leadership of the DVLA, they say due to the fact that they had a pre-inspection process started before this year, a number of the vehicles who hoped to get the 2022 license plates were there earlier in December and also in November to present their vehicles for pre-inspection. So all that they were left with was a few paperwork and they will receive the DVLA, the new 2022 plates. So most of the vehicles today, starting from Tuesday, have been issued the 2022 number plate, and it has not been as cumbersome as they had witnessed in the previous years. According to some of the vehicle owners who have experienced the previous process before, this one was less stressful, even though there were a number of people waiting there to be served. According to the people that we've been speaking to, the process is less cumbersome due to the fact that they had already finished some of the processes. That's the inspection of these vehicles. So it's been calm and cool here in the DVLA office in the Ashanti region.
What are authorities saying has changed that is making people, go through the process with less stress?
So aside the online
So Nana Ojima is joining us from Kumasi. He's been telling us how people in Kumasi are registering their vehicles with less stress. And he says the officers, it's partly because of the online registration. And then we'll get him to tell us more on what has changed. But also joining us is Francis Tufo, who is head of corporate communications at the DVLA. I'm grateful for your time, Francis. Today, a lot of people are lauding the DVLA, and they say you're doing well, because DVLA used to be one of the institutions with serious problems in terms of organizing clients who come to do business with you. So what did you do differently this time?
All right, good afternoon to you, and let me say a good afternoon again to your cherished listeners of US. If you recall, every first quarter of the year is the peak season of DVLA. So management met, strategized to help decongest the area. So we met, and then we have decided that in order to reduce the numbers that hitherto has been an albatross for us, we urged drivers, through a statement we issued, urging drivers or vehicle owners to go or to visit the private vehicle test stations, what we term as PVTS, for their vehicles to be assessed. So this statement was issued sometime around December, and a number of them followed. They submitted their vehicles to PVTS. The status of the vehicle was checked to check if the engine is correct, the tires, and other parts of it. Thereafter, once that is done, then you have to submit the vehicle to the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority for further assessment. Over there, they will check if the vehicle document corresponds with what corresponds with the information in the vehicle. So once that is certified, then you will be released to officials of DVLA for fiscal examination. That was the first stage. Then the second was that you create an invoice for you, or just tell you the price of that you have to pay. If it's 1 cedi, if it's 5 cedis, if it's 10 cedis, then you just pay. They will capture your biometric, and then quickly your number plate and other vehicle documents will be given to you. So basically, that was the strategy that we used, and it has really worked for us this year. So clearly, if you look at DVLA, we've received more people in our premises rather than vehicles, simply because a number of them submitted their vehicles to the PVTS to be assessed, which were assessed. So you can leave your vehicle in the house, just walk into DVLA, or come in with a taxi, pick your number plate, and then get back to the house. So then, clearly, it has to some extent reduced the number of vehicles or the crowd that hitherto we used to experience this year.
We've been told that now your services have been, you have categories of that. You have premium, you have other ones. I mean, can you explain to us what that means, so that when people are coming for these services, they know exactly what they're coming for?
Very good. We have premium, and then the premium, prestige, and regular service for licensed acquisition and license renewal. And we have, for vehicle, we have regular and we have premium service. Simply because, we have people, I know, for instance, multimedia or Joy, you don't have news. Reporters don't have news, time. Reporters, presenters, and then researchers within your institute have time. You get to office at dawn and you leave in the evening. So you can decide to authorize somebody to do the registration for you, either premium one or the regular service. And the premium service is more of a speedway rather than the regular one. It's like you boarding a flight. We have the economy flight, and then we have business flight, and we have other class, and we have other classes. So it is up to you to decide which of the class you want to sit, or which of the class you want your services to be provided. So basically, that's what we have introduced at DVLA, and strategically, it is also just to help reduce the numbers that hitherto used to get in the banking halls and other halls.
One of your biggest challenges over the years has been the issue of Goro boys. In fact, it's the reason you brought in this e-transaction and what have you. Where are you with dealing with Goro boys?
Thank you very much. If I am an examiner, I will give you 95% of this brilliant question.
Thank you.
Yes, because that's a brilliant question. And let me quickly answer that. We have said it several times that activities of Goro people, we don't have any transaction with them. DVL, we have not ordered or instructed anybody to provide service for or on behalf of DVLA. No. For instance, as I indicated earlier, per your work, if you don't have time and you can't come, you just give some power of attorney to any of your reporters to pass by to register your vehicle for you. It's accepted. Right. So, and other institutions also have the services of agents, which is also allowed. So when that person is coming, your number is there, your signature is there, and sometimes your stamp is also there to certify that you have asked the person to come. So what that means is that we would call on the sidelines of the person, will call back and find out that so are you, or were you the one, if you were the very person who instructed this person to transact business for and on behalf of you, and if indeed you work with multimedia, if that is certified from your angle, then before we proceed to do so. First on this very question, we have said it like, for instance, if you have your own check and you are going to cash money at the bank, and I don't think you just meet anybody at all around the banking sector or just a few meters to the banking hall, and you give your check to the person to cash your money for you. Will you?
No.
Yes, certainly so. So we have been appealing to people that they should just situate that in the area of transaction. And you can imagine you buying a vehicle of about 50,000, 12,000, 18,000, or 70,000 cedis, only for you to give your vehicle, your documents to somebody to register for you. A colleague of mine, quick one, as I speak, he called me yesterday that he gave his documents to somebody to register his vehicle for him. And as of yesterday, I'm yet to call if he's cleared, yet to check if he has gotten the document. He told me that they couldn't locate the document. And I said, yes, you've gone through the first stage already. It has been cleared by customs, the third. So why do you have to wait and give your documents to the person? If you are not careful, that person will run photocopy colored of your document, and later, 2 days time or a day before later, he'll tell you that he has found the document. But you wouldn't know whether he has run copies of the document. And you use the same, if you're not careful, to register fake vehicle, not within our system, though. You know, we have people who pull vehicles through unapproved routes into the country, and they dare not, they can't even enter into DVLA to register, because in the first place, like you seeing a consultant or seeing a doctor, you can't just jump and enter into the consulting room. It's the same as DVLA. Officials of customs will check and see the necessity of it before they will clear you to register. So they know officials of GRA will be there, so they will not even pass it because they will be intercepted. And we will not even pass, we will not even compromise on that. And we DVL will not do that. So the fear even coming. But what I'm trying to point here is that if you then give your genuine documents to these people, they will run photocopy of it, use this to register somebody else's car. So you'll be driving in town and you are not careful, they'll tell you that your number plate is the same as someone's, or your document is the same as someone's document. And then you'll be arrested. You go to court. If you are not careful, you'll be prosecuted. If you are not able to pay your fines, you go to jail. Meanwhile, you have bought your vehicle genuinely, simply because, respectfully, let me use this word, carelessly, you're just giving your document to someone to register for you because you have so much trust in the person. But in the system, we don't have anything called trust again.
Okay.
We don't have anything called trust. And the second on this same point is that, again, what some of them do is that, because of the nature of your work, you give it to somebody to go and register for you. For instance, Evans, to register for you. If you're not careful, Evans will use his name in the system. And then, they'll bring you the document, all right, that is for you. Or for Smith. If you use his name there, sorry to say this, I mean, this is just a passing comment, that you'll be driving the car, all right, as if it's for you. But in the system, it will not be for you. It's for somebody. So we have to be very, very careful, and we have to be extra careful and do the due diligence, double check before giving out our documents for people to register for us. So basically, this is an appeal I want to use. I mean, your medium is far-reaching, so I'm just appealing that people should not take it kindly, to just hand their documents over to people so trustworthy that they should go and register their vehicles for them.
That could land us in trouble. Francis Tofo, I'm grateful for your time. He's Public Relations Director at the DVLA. We'll take a break on The Pulse. And remember, you can join via all our social media handles. So on JoyNews on TV. You can also tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. We'll be back with more. Welcome back to The Pulse. We are also live on all our social media handles. You can tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. The opposition NDC wants government to completely and immediately withdraw its decision to reverse discounts on benchmark values at the port. Speaking at a news conference, National Communications Officer of the party, Sami Jemfi, says a failure to do so will exacerbate the sufferings of Ghanaians who are already distraught. Wekwa Sante has more in the following report.
The NDC says reversing the discounts on the import values will have adverse effects on Ghanaians who they say are suffering under the poor economic management of the Kufuor-led government.
We in the NDC hold the view that this is not a time for more taxes and draconian revenue measures such as the reversal of benchmark value discounts. We share in the view espoused by GUTA, the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, that the GRA withdraws the statement announcing this measure, which will only go a long way to stifle the already burdened businesses in the country. They must withdraw this immediately. We contend, ladies and gentlemen, that this is the time for the judicious and efficient use of taxes and the meager resources of state for the benefit of the Ghanaian people. It is not the time for more taxes and more draconian revenue measures. Enough of the wastage and ostentation being displayed by President Kufuor and his government, only to turn around and impose on the Ghanaian people true killer measures such as the reversal of benchmark value discounts.
The party also claimed that government reversed the discount because it was cash-strapped and needed more revenue, and also to balance government's book to go on a borrowing spree.
We wish to make the point that this catastrophic decision has been occasioned by the self-inflicted economic malaise we presently find ourselves in, with our economy in tatters and government simply unable to find money to do anything. After 5 years of economic mismanagement and reckless election-driven spending, which have taken the country back to its epic days, the Akufo-Addo MPP government has decided to punish the already burdened Ghanaian people with more hardships for their own recklessness and economic mismanagement. This is why all manner of crippling taxes and killer revenue measures, such as the reversal of benchmark value discounts, are being imposed on suffering Ghanaians to shore up government's revenue just to create an artificial picture of a sound economy in order to convince the investor community on more and more borrowing.
Sami Jemfi, the National Communication Officer of the party, also took on Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who had in 2019 defended the discounts on import benchmark values, but has gone mute since these discounts were reversed.
What has happened, or what has changed in just 2 years to warrant a reversal of this so-called brilliant economic policy, which was introduced by the once economic messiah of the MPP, who has now turned himself into an IT champion? What happened to all the justifications Dr. Bawumia mounted for the introduction of the discounted benchmark values?
Apart from vehicles, machinery and equipment, these discounts removed will affect sugar, spaghetti and noodle products, palm oil, and others. Some proponents of the reversal of the discounts, including the Association of Ghana Industries, have claimed this will help local industries. But the NDC says these claims are ridiculous because most of the items with discounts have been removed are not even manufactured locally.
The claim by government that the purpose of the reversal of benchmark value discounts is to address concerns raised by the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, and promote local production is mischievous and ridiculous, to say the least. This is because some of the items listed under the 44 categories of imported goods affected by this draconian policy, such as vehicles, spare parts, plants, equipment, machinery, sugar, and certain drugs, are not even manufactured in Ghana.
The implementation of the reversal of the 50% benchmark values on imports took effect on Tuesday, January 4. The reversal affects 43 items under 3 categories prescribed by the Ghana Revenue Authority. The other items on the list include crude and refined oils, finished aluminium products, as well as toilet, facial tissues, biscuits, pharmaceutical products. Others include chocolate products, clinker, cement, mosquito coils, carbonated drinks and beverages were also affected.
Ghana Union of Traders Association, meanwhile, claims early victory following government's decision to suspend the implementation of the controversial benchmark value reversal, which was expected to kick on January 4, 2022. Industry players, with the exception of AGI, have spoken strongly against the policy directive since it was announced on December 31. It is unclear what informed the sudden change, but in an interview with JoyNews, an unimpressed Deputy Communications Director of GUTA, Joseph Osei-Yawajiman, says government's decision to suspend the implementation is as a result of the pushback that has created the announcement of the policy.
Yes, but it's not a good news to us because we want the whole thing reversed. And it's not like reversing it for a day or two that will help us. So we are still dialoguing that the whole thing should be reversed. The government brought it and it should take it away. Yes.
But you also understand why government is introducing this particular policy?
We understand, but the understanding is not that deep that we have to understand.
Before we go to that understanding bit, what would you say has informed the decision to suspend it for at least a day? Is it your agitation, or is it the chaos at the ports yesterday, or what exactly, from your opinion, I mean, I'm talking about Guta, informed this decision by the administration?
It's both of them, because we have been pressing that the whole thing should be reversed. And since yesterday, we have been talking about it on all wavelengths to make it go. So I think that is what have pushed them to maybe reverse it until, because yesterday people were at the ports. They couldn't clear their goods because those who have done their papers during the holidays went in to clear their goods because it was after the holiday. And they went there and they were not able to clear their goods. And I think that has informed them to maybe reverse it for 1 or 2 days. And that won't help anybody. They should take the whole thing from there. And we are on it. We are talking to the government for them to suspend the whole thing.
Do you see light at the end of that tunnel?
We are dialoguing, so we can't say positive that we see light or something. But since we are talking about it, we know it will work.
But you know, AGI is also making a strong case for this policy to come to pass. At least it will help in our revenue generation and also expand the tax net, if you like. Don't you agree with AGI, or you are on the other side where AGI is?
No, AGI, are they the people who are going to expand taxes for the government? AGI, are they the people who should think of the taxes that government is going to get? Look, they should think of how they will work and get their businesses going. They are using obsolete machines. The interest rates that they are paying in Ghana is big. They can't compare themselves to any global country that is manufacturing the things that they are manufacturing. And if they leave them to manufacture, can they manufacture to the extent that they can serve the whole populace in Ghana? Because if you say they take rice, if you say they are producing rice, how many tons of rice can AGI produce? You will still have to import rice. And so if you say we should stop importing rice and let AGI produce rice in Ghana, can they do it?
What if we stop importing, they will increase the capacity to produce more?
Why don't they increase it and see that they are self-sufficient before they come out to say that we should stop?
Hunger is said to have hit the Gbel community in the West Mamprisi municipality of the Northeast region, killing at least 45 people.
The Gbel community is located near Wuluku in the West Mamprisi municipality, inhabited by tribal Talinses. Mainly into subsistence farming, the people here are sometimes said to engage in other seasonal activities such as fishing in the White Volta River that separates the community from the nearby Talensi district of the Upper East region. Like many settler communities in this region, Gbel is an extremely poor household community where the state can be said to be absent from the day-to-day activities of the people. A community which is facing long-standing neglect has no functional basic amenities, and the people here are deprived of all the essential public services for a normal living. Poverty is high here due to the lack of any livelihood support, and parents are unable to feed their children as a result. The harsh living conditions is said to have led to frustrations among the people, with many said to have resorted to excessive drinking of alcohol, leading to a record number of young parents dying and leaving behind their children.
The reason why we have orphans in this community is that some parents pass away due to alcohol. They are taking it plenty. And you know, due to us, it is a village. Every funeral they provide what? Alcohol, and they drink. So some of them also go to riverside to catch fish. And due to the flood of the water, some pass away. And half of the woman is due to some secular sicknesses. They will catch the parent, they don't have money to survive. They have to die. Here is a bush. There are grass around. If scorpions, snakes, they bite them and they die. That is the reason why we have more orphans in this community.
Malik Mbe Ntima is a son of the chief who helps in taking care of the children who number over 100.
The orphans currently are 149 orphans in this community. But those who have died, About 30 of the orphans have died due to hunger. They couldn't get food to eat. And half of the orphans are staying with the chief and half of them are staying with me. And some of them are staying with the people that are well small in this community. We distribute the orphans.
Malik and his father are also poor farmers who depend on only their farm proceeds to care for their orphans. But according to him, they have been unable to do so since last year after they lost their farm investment to heavy rains and floodwaters.
Me, for instance, if I pick, like, let's say I am a farmer, I farm onions. If I farm and I cultivate onions, sometimes I do buy food and take care of the orphans. And the chief too, he's also a farmer. Like every year, if strangers enter here, we don't even have money to farm. Strangers will come here with their tractors and farm and go. So the chief tax those people if they farm about 3 acres and they cultivate and they have and they get about 100 bags of maize. They will give us 3 bags so that we'll help and take care of the orphans.
He called for urgent assistance in the form of food supplies, clothing, and a befitting shelter to save the children.
Even most of them, they don't have standards. For me, I am taking care of about 60 of them. I don't have money to buy all sandals and distribute to them. That's my worry. Right now, what I think they want now is food and accommodation. That is what they
At a gathering in the village square, these children orphans. They look hopelessly unkept and malnourished at the same time. I spoke to one of them in the local Mampurle dialect. One of my friends just died days ago. For God's sake, we need your assistance. We are hungry. The women leader in the community also called for assistance, who she said had been informed severally about the situation. They have nothing, no clothing, no food. It's pure suffering. That is why we want you to intervene and help us to take care of them. Elias Sotanko reporting from Bio, West Mampresi.
The Santino Tumfosetu II has commended the hard work and innovation at the Menchia Government Hospital, leading to one of his staff winning the 2021 National Best Nurse and Midwife Awards. Aisha Bawa, a midwife at the Menchia Hospital, designed a movable emergency trolley, among other things, to win the Ghana Registered Nurses Association Best Nurse 2021. Otumfo was full of praise for her and the hospital when executives of the Ghana Registered Nurses Association of Menchia Hospital presented her before the king at the Menchia Palace.
In the midst of a congested maternity ward, midwife Aisha Bawa designed the first ever movable emergency bed for newborns.
Normally, when a baby dies, we have something we call perinatal audit that we do. So out of the audits, we bring out recommendations, how best we can make sure that such thing does not occur again. So after an audit meeting, we realized that we needed something to transport babies safely from the theater to the NICU. So we decided some of us came out with a board that we can put the babies on a board. But no, I sat down and then I realized that we can as well get something like an oxygen port attached to the trolley so that it wouldn't serve as transporting babies from the theater or the maternity to the NICU only, but can as well serve as a transporting trolley for babies from the NICU to the X-ray department and other departments. And for now, my facility is using it and other facilities have also adapted it.
The innovation, according to Vida Ampofowachum, who is in charge of the maternity ward, has helped reduce child mortality at the hospital drastically.
Without this trolley, we have to take the baby with you without bagging the baby. Along the line, the baby will die. That's why she preferred to use this, so that whilst bagging, another person will be pushing the road till we reach MB.
Aisha has produced other simple work tools that have helped increase maternity health for women and children at Dementia Hospital. At Dementia Palace, the Asantehene was full of praise for her. Here is Otumfuo's Hiahene, Professor Ohene Boache J.
Into my idea, na Sebibu has in a mocha, Yensia, na Yen, then share the Debatuaso, and maybe Bian so I could be pepe. Some part and the Abanti, I feel I see Mudia, and Pomudin, and the Behe Sebia in Abina, within the Diasma Santimai.
A National Procurement Committee member of the Ghana Registered Nurses Association, Thomas Asafoje, told Love News the award should motivate nurses nationwide.
To us as professionals, it's one of the motivator. It encourages us that notwithstanding all the challenges that we go through in our daily hustles to save life, members see it, community see it, the nation sees it and recognize it. It will motivate each and every individual working at every part of the country to know that his or her efforts will not be in vain.
Reporting for JoyNews, Erastus Asaredonko, Kumasi.
That's Antonio Tumfo says. So the second says, if Christians were to demonstrate a truthfulness and honesty, Ghana will begin on a path of transformation. Its representative, the chief of ASAFO, said the Ghanaian society stands a better chance at development with Christians leading the path. He was speaking at the dedication of an 18,000 capacity auditorium of the House of Power Ministries at the Ajamesu in the Ashanti region.
The Asafohene Achamfo Asafo Boache Ajiman Bonsu joined founder and leader of the House of Power Ministries, Prophet Francis Kwarteng, and thousands of congregants to dedicate this 18,000 capacity church auditorium at Ajamesu in the Ashanti region. He observed that many magnificent places of worship and cathedrals built across the world are losing congregants, emphasizing on the need for leaders of the gospel to lead with truth and honesty.
Christo suya oka se oni no kware no ziam eno de ye momode enne a meka se ukọ cathedral hodo a yesi na brochire nyina ziam babia ziam titiri wo Europe se upi asonda kese se mu a ziam utiye yi a ena onya merewa ba du no ziam na sofuka ho ziam de Kristo asori ko wie no no etimi gina pai mu ka Kristo ne kwan Kristo na mankwa ni ayira Kristo ne nokwafo yenka ho asem se ne atwa ha hye nyina edi nokra ziam Ghana besisa.
He also observed the emergence of false prophets and their negative influence on the Ghanaian society and insists men of God must live by example.
Prophet Ibana Mibisha and say, Indi Asori Kra, the Mayina Mudache and the say, now Emi Dese prophet and so I didn't know no Kedich Demi Ziam. Say Yamanin Suhao Ziam. Ye be school Ziam. Ye be hospital. Now 2 for them country Muse Ziam. A house of power Ziam. Some Bobua Amasantia to impose a dia. Asasi amudi babua ama Santia to point. A brevia Muhibia Munan.
Prophet Francis Kwarteng addressed thousands who had trooped in from across Ghana for the 31st watch night service.
I was Solomon, I saw the animal. Science and Frasia were yet in Araso. Ewo eja oba ene ho amen.
Reporting for JoyNews, Erastus Asaredonko, Ajamesu, Ashanti region.
The Nyamicha Charity Foundation has donated food items and money to Echoing Hill Village, an orphanage in Medina Obojo in Accra. Speaking at an event organized by the foundation every year, the Director of Finance and Operations of Outreach at the Nyamicha Charity Foundation, Prince Sir, entreated individuals and social organizations to support the needy.
As we forget that there are people out there who need help. If you have and you can, please give. It's very important. Not all of us have been fortunate to have the kind of lives that we do. Other people are suffering, and it's real. Sometimes it's hard to believe that in our modern day Ghana and Accra, all these things are happening, but it's real. These are special need children. They need all the help and love and care and support that they can get. So if you're out there, and then if you have enough to give, then please, 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 just find the nearest orphanage near you. It can even be your own family member or somebody you know is in dire need of something. Just give it to them. Because we just came out of Christmas into New Year, which is a season of giving. So please, I entreat everybody out there who has enough to give to do so.
He explains to JoyNews the purpose of the foundation's donation to Echoing Hill Village, an orphanage at Medina.
Basically, every year we do 2 outreaches. We do a street feeding during Easter, and when it comes to Christmas, we do a donation to an orphanage. And then we did our research and found out that this place that we are in, we found their needs, basically. And then we decided to come and then support all these things. And also to show some love and some care. So we decided to bring some, food stuff, some rice, some oil, some drink, something for the kids to party with. That's biscuits, toffees, everything. Also some chicken, then some toiletries, some personal stuff. Also some clothing, new clothing, some to use. And then we also brought some things for their schools, their books, their bags, their pens. We brought all those things just to say a Happy New Year to them and also to help support their living. What we researched, we found out that they needed a lot of things to support like their daily lives, such as what to eat, what to feed, how to take care of themselves, their personal hygiene, and also some money. Some money for utilities, some money for upkeeps, also something for the staff, to pay the staff, because they have about 11 caretakers over here. So they need some monies to support and all that.
And we are live on the Pulse. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll bring you the very latest from the world of sports.
Good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on the JoyNews Pulse with me, Oreku Ampofo. I'll be talking about the Black Stars today, and it hasn't been the best of 24 hours or so for Milovan Marivach, whose only preparatory match against Algeria ended up in a bit of a mini disaster with 2 quick-fire goals in the second half. An own goal from Jonathan Mensah and then a third goal from Islam Slimani added to Adam Unas's early strike in the first half to ensure that Algeria continue the unbeaten run ahead of the tournament. However, it's now time to do some post-match analysis on the game, looking forward at the Africa Cup of Nations. And for the Black Stars themselves, this would be the 23rd time that they're playing at the tournament. Just 4 times have they won the competition. Definitely, it looks as if a lot of people are not counting them as favourites heading into the tournament. But we want to get an idea of what exactly the expectations should be when they face Morocco and Comoros and Gabon in the group stages. And of course, looking at the bigger picture for the team, joining me in studio is Joel Botte of the Joy Sports team. And the picture you can see in the background is of the Black Stars yesterday for the match as well. And Joel, it's a pleasure to have you in the studio. And let's first talk about yesterday's match. Did it come as a surprise in terms of the result?
Well, in terms of results, I don't think it was a surprise, not to me, and I'm pretty sure not to many Ghanaians, because if you look over our World Cup qualifiers, which we've played most recently, you can tell that we've struggled winning games. We are not creating chances. Even after Milo came, yes, we're expecting the new manager bounce, as they call it, but we were able to grind out the results and get the win. But in terms of ball playing abilities, we knew that we had the individual talents, but we're not seeing them showcase the teamwork and the ability to do much more. Now, looking at yesterday's results, obviously Algeria is a much better side. They are the previous champions. You know, you cannot expect to overshadow them with what they've done over the years. So it's going to take time. I don't think yesterday's result was any form of a surprise to any of us.
But of course, just a bit of context. And Thomas Partey, who captained the side yesterday, only joined the camp less than 24 hours before the friendly match. There was no Jordan Ayew, there was no Andre Ayew, there was no Kamaldeen Sulemana, there was no Babaraman. And then also Jojo Wollacott, who has made the #1 spot his own. So all around the pitch, there were various key players missing. Milovan Rajevic, he decried earlier before the game, stating that he had just 6-7 players during camp, and it really speaks to the ill preparations that the Black Stars have had. If you look at long term, with the type of camp that they had in Qatar, considering all of these things, what should Ghanaians really expect from this tournament?
In terms of expectations for this tournament, I would say they should manage those expectations, because if you look at what we've done over the years, it's not been impressive, and we have to try our best and make sure that we manage those expectations for ourselves, because that's what will guide our hearts in supporting our national team. This tournament, I'm not expecting us to go beyond round of 16, and I'm being as real as possible, because I see a lot of teams coming into the tournament as heavy favorites. You have Senegal, you have Algeria, you have Morocco, even in our group, who are also top. You have even Ivory Coast, Nigeria. These are top sides. Can Ghana match these sides when it meets any of them after the group stages? That's a question mark. So therefore, I believe that we should manage our expectations, and we should just support the team game by game. And with that, I think we'll be okay.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. And we'll be keeping eyes on the Black Stars, who play on Monday against Morocco in their AFCON opener. My name is Ore Kwampofo. In the meantime, you can get some more sports stories on my Joy Online /sports, or follow us on social media at JoySportsGH.
So draw the curtains on the Pulse this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Let's talk showbiz. It's up next, but you can log on to myjoyonline.com. You get more of the stories and updates of all the developing stories. Enjoy the rest of our programs.